What's up, everybody? Happy Monday to you. TK, along with Ronnie here. TK joining us over at Court Street Cafe in downtown Port Allen. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. And of course, we're always presented by La Berge Casino. This is the British Open recap Monday morning edition. Scotty Scheffler dominates the field. The Baton Rouge Rougarou dominate the Texas Collegiate League, now 32 and 9. 42 games in because we had one rain out with six to play. 6 games this week, Tuesday through Sunday. We'll be at home every day this week outside of Wednesday and
Wednesday and
Friday. So
Friday.
come on out. Tuesday night, tomorrow night is a Gordon McKernan free ticket night. We had a rain out on Thursday, so they bumped it over to Tuesday. It's also Marucci World Series night. All the Marucci World Series teams in town invited out as well, and a whole lot more. We've got Bark at the Park night on Thursday. You can bring your dogs, get in free. We're gonna have a parade of dogs, give away some prizes. I've seen Mike Kerner, former LSU Tiger, likes to come out to the Bark at the Park, brings his dog. And so that's this Thursday. And then Saturday is Skip Burtman night. We're going to honor the legend Skip Burtman, who's at the game last night. His grandson will be pitching on Saturday, and we'll get a chance to see Skip. We've got some special presentations, including a few surprises that he doesn't know about. Ton of former Tigers will be there as well. That's this Saturday night, July 26th, Skip Burtman night, 7 o'clock. He'll be signing books. We'll be giving away books, all that stuff. And then Sunday is the final regular season game of the year. There's a surprise, but you have to be at the game to see it. We're not allowed to promote it on social media, but there is a major surprise Sunday night. I have a gag order in effect. It's a long story, but the bottom line is if you show up at the park on Sunday night on July 27th, you're going to be glad you did because we do have a surprise for those in attendance. And then the playoffs begin. First home game will be for the playoffs will be Tuesday, July 29th. That's over a week from now. But this week, let's see if the Rougarou can finish strong, get to 48 wins, Tommy. That'd be good if we could finish 48-9. That's kind of the goal of the team this week. Scotty Scheffler, let's talk about this for a minute. And then we'll recap UFC and Power Slap and everything that happened in New Orleans over the weekend because it was an amazing weekend in New Orleans for sports and for UFC. First time back in the city in 10 years, record gate, all that. Scotty Scheffler's up 4 going into the final round on Sunday. Tommy, all he did was win by 5.
It's amazing. He's the greatest golfer in the world right now. He's not going to be forever, but he is right now. And aside from the 19 million he's won this year and 91 million in his career, he's taken a different route than a lot of superstars. I mean, I saw the press conference last week where, I'm gonna make the analogy that I made about Tony Robichaux, the late great Tony Robichaux. Coach Robichaux used to say, baseball coach is what I do. It's not who I am. Well, Scotty Scheffler, golf is what he does, but it's not who he is. Heard an interview this morning on the way to Court Street Cafe here with Jordan Spieth, who's known Scheffler forever. Scheffler played golf at the University of Texas, by the way. And he said some years ago, Scotty Scheffler shifted gears where he kept leaving the golf at the golf course. And he wanted to be a family guy with his wife. His wife is now he's got a son that's a couple of years old. And, he could care less about endorsements or being in every commercial that comes around. He just goes and plays golf, and then he wants to separate that and enjoy his life with his family and his faith. So it's different, I mean, how many commercials was Shaq in and Michael Jordan in and all the superstars in sports. And, Tiger Woods was in a million commercials when he was in his heyday. So it's just different. It's kind of genuine and it's kind of refreshing to see that, yeah, he's the greatest golfer in the world and, he's got all the money in the world, but it's not the most important thing to him. And that could be why he's so successful because he doesn't have this pressure of being like, ooh, I got to finish in the top 10 or I got to win or whatever. I mean, when it's time to play golf, he plays golf. And when he leaves the clubhouse, he's worried about other things and doesn't play as many corporate outings as a lot of those golfers do. And a lot of those golfers early in their career do it for the money. They're getting paid to do it. Scheffler's just a different creature. And by the way, he's the greatest golfer in the world. And I mean, he had a double bogey on the 8th hole yesterday. But other than that, he was like every shot he hit was pin high. I think he had 63 putts from inside 10 feet, made 59 of them. Okay. I mean, that's the difference right there, the putting. I think Tiger Woods, they said, went like 4 years without missing a putt inside of 6 feet. Okay, when he was in his heyday. So, he's just the best golfer in the world. Everybody else is playing for second. It's like Larry Bird with the 3-point shooting contest. Who's going to come in second? You just got to tip your hat to Scheffler and enjoy it while you can. He's not going to be number one forever. We know that based on the history of golf. But it's fun to watch because, like, he doesn't make a mistake. He double bogeyed the eighth hole, but other than that, that's basically his only mistake of the weekend. Right? So
he is. It's. I mean, at this point, he's Tiger Woods dominant. I mean, he's not Tiger Woods at the height of his career dominant, but he's Tiger Woods dominant. And what I mean by that is he's the favorite to win every tournament. He's gonna win or finish in the top 10 every tournament. He's given himself a chance to win every tournament, and everybody knows, and he doesn't choke. Like, if he has the lead going into the last day, he wins. And they know that. Everyone knows that. He does it differently. He doesn't wear the red shirt. He's not as intimidating physically or with his emotions or the crowd, the army behind him and all the antics. But as far as the straight up dominance and the fact that there's the greatest golfer in the world, and everybody knows who it is, it's Scotty Scheffler. And when he plays in a tournament, he's the favorite to win it. He's going to win it. He's always going to have a good showing. It's going to be a 1 in a gazillion shot where he doesn't have a good showing, and that's like Tiger Woods.
How about this graphic they put up yesterday, Ron? From Tiger Woods' first major to his fourth major was 1,197 days. Scotty Scheffler's first major to his fourth major, which was yesterday, 1,197 days. That's mind-boggling. Okay, and I remember Tiger Woods went years without missing a cut. Okay, when he was the absolute dominator. Scheffler's just hey, if you get a chance to watch him play golf, watch it. He's not fist pumping and he's not high fiving everybody in the crowd. I mean, he when he won the tournament yesterday, he's looking for his wife and his son. He wasn't, but he shook hands with the playing partner and the caddies like they always do. But then he's hugging his son and his wife. And that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
And
he's ho humming it. He's ho humming it like ho hum. He's just going about his business, man.
Yeah, I picked up. I'm up to
But
it's
did
fun
you
to watch.
see? Let's talk about if folks out there have not seen the shot, and if you haven't seen the shot, then you haven't been on social media at all the last few days. But the Rory McIlroy ball in the rough, and he hits his ball out of the thick rough near the green on a chip shot, and it turns out there was another ball that no one saw that was buried underneath his ball in the rough that had been just hidden there. And
It was probably Louis' ball. It's probably Louis Garcia's ball from last year.
And he hits his ball, and then all of a sudden the second ball pops up out of the air and hits, him on the leg. That it's one of the more incredible videos I've ever seen in my life. It's hard to believe that could even happen on that course and to Rory, and that he couldn't even see there was another ball down there and all that. Incredible video. One of the most incredible things I've ever seen in golf in my life. Am I over exaggerating?
No, you're not. And what's funny about that is the old saying: you go to the baseball park, you'll see something you never saw before. Watching that shot, you saw something you've never seen before. I mean, it was incredible. And then Rory picked the ball up, looked at it, knew it was not his, and I don't think he thought it was his, but that was just one of those little quirky things that you may not ever see that again. So I don't think you're over exaggerating.
I mean, just incredible. If you haven't seen the video, Google it, Rory McIlroy rough double ball or something. I mean, it's a shot that's never been done before, and it's a shot that'll never happen again. I mean, think about it for a minute, how thick that rough has to be. Your ball is on top, is in the grass. You see your ball, and somewhere deep underneath it is another ball that you can't see, but it's perfectly aligned, and he hits his ball fine. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of his eye, up pops another ball, and
Well,
it's amazing.
well, it also speaks to the power of his swing. Think
Right.
about that. The club head speed and down at the bottom getting through the ball. He's got swing that none of us have, that's for sure. But that's the power of that swing that he could unearth an embedded ball that was below his. I mean, they're pretty remarkable.
So Bethpage, the next time there's a big tournament, Ryder
Yeah,
Cup
late
coming up
September, the Ryder
late
Cup,
September.
Europe, USA, Keegan
Yeah,
Bradley, the captain of USA, and that'll be at Bethpage Black, famous public golf course up there in New York, and that'll be
right.
late September. So we'll talk. Talk. Are you going to that tournament,
Not
Ronnie?
at
I mean,
all.
you tend
Uh,
to find.
I
I
got to be
tend to
honest
know
with you,
that you.
Tommy. I want to play the courses. I'm not a big fan necessarily of going to them. Now, I go to the Zurich at least one day a year. That's more of a party. I mean, when you're down there visiting, talking with people, you're hardly watching much golf. And when you go to a tournament, it's hard to see what's going on unless you just kind of walk with a golfer. You know, if you decide, okay, I'm gonna follow so and so, and you just follow them the whole time and see all their shots. And anyway, no. So I enjoy watching golf on TV. Enjoy going on occasion. You got to go to the Augusta. It's like a pilgrimage. But I want to play the course. You know, like and I'd like to play Bethpage Black, not necessarily go walk it and watch others play it, no matter what the tournament is. All right, let's talk about the Baton Rouge Rougarou for a minute. On fire and Fuego have won six in a row after a little bit of a shaky second half start with 6-6. Now won six in a row, clearly in first place in the Louisiana division. Still 3.5 games up on top of Victoria Generals with six to play for the best overall record in the league. And that's important because if we finish with the best overall record at the end of the week, then we'll be hosting the championship game if we win our play-in game series. We'll be hosting the championship game Saturday, August 2nd at the Gold Mine, Pete Goolsby Field. Um, UFC and slap and all that. I know I was down there Fridays and Saturday for all that as the state chairman of Louisiana State Athletic Commission. And it was an amazing event. How much did you see, whether it be highlights, press conferences, whatever, Tommy?
A little bit of press conferences, saw some highlights. I read all the stuff, record numbers or ticket sales and the impact on the economy in New Orleans was a record. South Louisiana benefited as well. And, it was the first ever UFC fight in New Orleans, I want to say. Well, I
No,
think they're going
no,
to
no.
be
Yeah, they've had it before. It's first time in 10 years.
10
They've had
years.
it,
Okay.
had it a couple times, but first time in 10 years.
Yeah, so it was, a major event. It was pretty much packed. It wasn't every seat filled, but Smoothie King Arena was, 15,000 plus, handful of empty seats. But, it was a big deal. I know you were there. I didn't watch it when it occurred, but I checked out all the info. So it was another sports spectacle in the city of New Orleans, like a Sugar Bowl, like a Super Bowl, like a whatever.
Yeah, the 8.09 million was the gate that UFC got from the ticket sales. It was a sellout. Now, any tickets seats that were open, folks either were walking around or just didn't go.
Well,
But they,
that was the black market thing. Those guys that buy groups of tickets and try to sell them way above.
yeah. So 8.09 million, which was the gate for UFC, was the highest gate in the history of the building. Okay, more than any other concert, more than anything. Average ticket price over just a tick over 500. For to sell out that whole building, and they about 65% of all the people that bought tickets were from out of town. About 20% were from Southwest Louisiana. So that's the Poirier effect right there. Dustin Poirier bought an army of people. It was an electric atmosphere. It was fantastic. Power Slap, first time those events have ever been held in the state of Louisiana. They had that Friday night at Xavier. Fantastic event. People have seen some of the videos online of the power slap stuff. When you go to it, it's less gruesome than some of those highlight videos where they slow mo it down and all that. The production's incredible. There's a structure to it that you don't get to see, and so that's pretty cool. And everybody who left Power Slap Friday night was like, "Man, that was a lot better than I thought it would be," or "That was really cool," or whatever. So look for that to come back. Dana White was complimentary of the governor, who went above and beyond to make sure UFC was happy financially. He complimented the Athletic Commission, Louisiana State Athletic Commission. We had over 75 people working the event that night under the commission's thumb. and guidelines, and he was complimentary of us and the job we did and the cooperation we had with them for the months leading up to this event. And then also complimentary of Caesars. Like I was a big corporate sponsor and partner, and just was super excited. And the one thing I was told by the UFC officials, Tommy, was that the crowd was an early arriving crowd. You know, when they do these UFC pay per view events in Vegas, for example, and they have all these prelim fights. These fights start at 5:15. There were probably, I'm trying off the top of my head here, remember, one, two, three, at least 14 or 15
Wow.
fights prior to Dustin Poirier's fight. Okay, the main event, Holloway Poirier. They started at 5:15 with the fights. Poirier and Holloway's fight didn't happen till I don't know 10:30 or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what the time was. My point is that he says a lot of times in Vegas and other big cities, the crowd just kind of somewhat comes late and they come for, they show up for the main event card or something. This crowd, not that it was full at 5:15, but there were people in there a lot of people in there at 5:15. By 7:30, Tommy, 3 hours before the main event, I would say that stadium was 80% full,
Wow.
something
That's
like
cool.
that. You know what I mean? Like, and so it was electric all night long. It wasn't just electric in the last 30 minutes of the night. It was electric all night long. And they appreciated that. UFC realized, man, this market, these people really like the sport. They like these fighters. They like what we're doing. It's not just about the main event. And that combined with the record gate, I mean, they don't sell $8.09 million worth of tickets wherever they go. I can tell you. Daniel Cormier told me that. UFC officials told me that. Ryan Clark was there. Ryan Clark, I spoke to him. He's traveled all over the world. He used to do a podcast with DC, about wrestling and stuff. He said this, he's been to Saudi Arabia, he's been all over. Like they don't have this kind of crowd and this kind of gate financially, and the early arriving crowd just everywhere they go. And so they said we're coming back much sooner than we did last time. We're going to figure out a way, especially as long as Jeff Landry's the governor. I have a feeling they'll be back sooner than we think.
Sounds good. I mean, again, major impact. You said so many people traveled in. Well, that's hotel rooms, that's restaurants, that's bar rooms, that's gift shops. I mean, the whole 9 yards. So, yeah, so that's a bigger gate than the Rougarou, that's for sure.
Just a touch. And oh, by the way, Dustin Poirier, final fight ever. He went the distance, 5 rounds. He lost the decision to Holloway. It was clearly Holloway's fight, but Dustin showed well. And they did Holloway was a gracious in a victory. He deferred Poirier. It's his night. It's all about his night. And one of the coolest moments, Tommy, was at the end of the fight. They played My Way by Frank Sinatra at the end before he left the cage. They had some of his immediate family in the cage. He hugged them all. He took off his gloves, laid his gloves down on the mat, in the octagon for the final time, draped himself in the flag of Acadiana, the Acadiana flag, and they played My Way by Frank Sinatra, and then he paraded to the locker room hugging and high-fiving everybody. It was really emotional and a really cool moment.
Yeah, I read all of that about the gloves and everything. So that was spectacular. It'll be something people remember. And it's probably going to be one of them things where, like, 5 years from now, they're going to say that 50,000 people are going to say they were there.
Right.
Like the Billy Cannon run or the Warren Morris home run when, 100,000 LSU fans say they were there. We know it wasn't. So it's something like that that's going to be remembered by sports fans. And again, it's a feather in the hat for your sports commission, for the state of Louisiana. I mean, it's just it's a big thing. It's not football, it's not basketball, baseball, but it's still very, very important to a lot of people.
The Rougarou in action tomorrow night, free ticket night. So come on out. Gordon McKernan picking up the tab. So if you haven't been to a Rougarou game in a while, or you haven't been at all, and you want to try it, come on out tomorrow night. It's a great night. We're going to have a lot of fun. And then, of course, we're at home Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday as well.
And last night there was a star-studded event out there at the Rougarou. You had Doug Thompson, Skip Bertman. They rolled in. Will Clark was in the house. Marcus Thornton, 10 years in the NBA, threw out the ceremony, one of the ceremonial first pitches. So A lot of
Yeah.
people. I saw some posts today. People that took pictures with Will Clark, that took pictures with Marcus Thornton. That said they had a blast out at the Rougarou game. So as the graphic on the screen says, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and just as important, if not more important, next Tuesday night, week from tomorrow, playoff game. You got to be there.
By the way, the Will the Thrill, one of the great hitters of all time, he'll be back Thursday. He's coming Thursday. The game, a friend of his, some friends of his that own Rescom. It's a Rescom night on the party deck, and Will's going to come back out. So, looking forward to seeing him.
Here's the other thing. I talked to Marcus Thornton this morning. He brought his young daughter and son and his wife. So it was his daughter's first ever baseball game, and she can't wait to go back.
That's awesome.
She's like going to be in fourth grade, young girl, real good athlete, like you might could figure.
Right.
But he told me this morning, he said, my daughter was so fired up, never seen a baseball game before. And, she was down on the field when he threw the pitch. And, his little bitty son was out there throwing the ball over there by the party deck. So, that's the experience. That's why everybody needs to get out there and bring the family and have some fun. I mean, people want to go, and the young kids want to go back.
All right, TK, tell us about Court Street as we get out of here.
Yeah, Court Street Cafe, breakfast, lunch, dinner, Monday through Saturday, full service bar there right behind me. Steak night on Saturday. I know today is only Monday, but make plans to come steak night on Saturday. They get their steaks from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. You can get a filet, you can get ribeye, and they are fantastic. You got to do that on Saturday night. Or breakfast, lunch, dinner. Jason and the staff do a super job here. Plenty of parking, easy to get to. A couple of minutes over the Mississippi River Bridge if you're coming from Baton Rouge. If you're already over here on the west side, make your way to Court Street Cafe. You'll be glad you did. We'll be back Wednesday morning from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood with another episode of Sports George Daily. On behalf of Ronnie and Jason and everybody here at Court Street Cafe, have a great day, everyone.